understand how that particular vendor works relative to other vendors. So then, of course, you have all of this information, and the major role for the disclosure transparency team is to help the vendors and to help the departments determine the reportability of this information. Where does it go? So the cost for managing the program itself could be considered something that needs to be reported in aggregate, and that needs to be very clear. The meal and the travel expenditures should be clearly indicated as transfers of value, and who is responsible for reporting that. Then you have audiovisual equipment, which may be considered to be reported in aggregate if it's a promotional program or not. And then you have those dicey expenditures that may be a little bit confusing to the organization, like shipping costs, and figuring out whether shipping costs should be reported in aggregate or do not report it at all. So you want to be able to provide that very clear guidance, but in order for you to provide that very clear guidance, you need to have that transparency and that deep understanding as to what all those expenditures are. If you don't, what we've noticed is that either the vendor or the departments take it upon themselves to kind of decide, to say, I could pass the red face test and say, shipping shouldn't be reported for X reason. Well, that's really something that should be driven by you as the aggregate spend professional, as the disclosure and transparency professional, or the team. And so you want to make sure that you have knowledge of those so that you can all work under the same assumption. You don't want one vendor or one department to use one assumption and then another to consider that information differently.